CEO is allergic to all women, but spends a night with poor girl and she gets pregnant with triplets. Imagine a world where love and connection are dictated not by choice, but by biology. Picture this: a powerful CEO who has it all: money, influence, success, but is cursed with an allergy so bizarre, so unusual, that it keeps him isolated from half the population. Women, any contact with them triggers sneezing fits, rashes, even fainting spells. For years, he's lived in solitude, managing his empire from behind closed doors, avoiding any interaction with women at all costs. But what happens when fate throws him into the path of someone he can't ignore? Someone whose life is as chaotic and unpredictable as his is controlled. This is the story of how one night changes everything. For both of them, let me introduce you to Adrian Cole, the man everyone knows, but no one really knows. At just 34, Adrian built his tech empire from scratch, turning a small startup into a global powerhouse. He's sharp, ambitious, and fiercely independent, or so people think. What they don't see is the loneliness that lurks beneath his polished exterior. His condition isn't just inconvenient, it's isolating. It's shaped every decision he's ever made, pushing him further away from relationships and deeper into work. Yet despite his struggles, Adrian carries himself with confidence, almost like he's daring anyone to question why he lives the way he does. Until now, he's been able to keep his secret under wraps, hidden behind assistants, security teams, and carefully crafted routines. But sometimes, life doesn't care about your plans. Enter Mia Thompson, a young woman whose life couldn't be more different from Adrian's. Struggling to make ends meet, Mia works 2 jobs just to keep food on the table for her younger siblings. After their parents passed away unexpectedly, she's resilient, resourceful, and determined to give her family a better future, even if it means sacrificing her own dreams along the way. One rainy evening, while rushing home after a long shift at the diner, she stumbles upon a black luxury car stranded on the side of the road. The driver's door swings open, revealing none other than Adrian Cole himself, looking completely out of place in the pouring rain. Reluctantly, Mia offers to help, and thus begins a chain of events neither of them could have anticipated. Adrian's initial reaction is panic. He tries to wave her off, muttering something about handling it himself, but Mia insists. As she leans closer to check the engine, Adrian starts sneezing uncontrollably. His face flushes red, and he fumbles for his inhaler. Confused and concerned, Mia asks if he's okay, but Adrian brushes her off, clearly embarrassed. Still, there's something about her kindness that catches him off guard. Against his better judgment, he accepts her offer to call a tow truck, though he keeps his distance as much as possible. Little do they know, this chance encounter will set off a series of events that will change their lives forever. As the days pass, Adrian finds himself thinking about Mia more than he should. There's something refreshing about her honesty, her lack of pretense. She doesn't care about his money or status. In fact, she barely recognizes him when they first meet. And yet, he feels drawn to her in a way he hasn't felt toward anyone in years. Meanwhile, Mia can't shake the image of the mysterious man in the rain. Something about his vulnerability stayed with her, even though she chalked it up to exhaustion at the time. Fate, however, seems intent on bringing them together again. When Mia lands a temp job at Adrian's company through a friend of a friend, she has no idea who her new boss really is, or that working there will throw her into a whirlwind of emotions she wasn't prepared for. Their paths cross again during a late-night meeting. Adrian, still grappling with his growing curiosity about Mia, invites her to stay and discuss some administrative tasks. Despite his allergies, he finds himself wanting to learn more about her. They talk for hours, sharing stories about their lives, their struggles, their hopes. For the first time in years, Adrian lets his guard down, allowing Mia to see past the polished CEO persona, and Mia, for her part, sees glimpses of the man behind the mask, a man burdened by secrets and longing for connection. The chemistry between them is undeniable, but so is the danger. Every moment they spend together pushes Adrian closer to his limits, testing whether love can truly conquer all. Even biology. But then comes the twist neither of them saw coming. After a particularly stressful day, Adrian makes an impulsive decision to take Mia to a secluded cabin he owns outside the city. It's meant to be a quiet escape, a chance for both of them to breathe and reflect. But things spiral quickly. A storm rolls in, cutting off power and communication. Trapped together, they're forced to confront their feelings in ways neither expected. By the time the sun rises, they've crossed a line neither thought possible. For Adrian, it's a moment of reckless abandon, a defiance of the boundaries he's imposed on himself for so long. For Mia, it's a leap of faith, trusting that this enigmatic man might be worth the risk. Weeks later, Mia realizes something is wrong. Her body feels different. Her energy levels fluctuate wildly, and nausea becomes a daily struggle. Panicked, she visits a doctor, only to receive news that leaves her reeling. She's pregnant, not just with one child, but triplets. The revelation sends her mind racing. How could this happen? More importantly, what will Adrian say when he finds out? She knows she needs to tell him, but the thought terrifies her. Will he reject her, blame her, or worse, disappear entirely? As she wrestles with these questions, she begins to wonder if their fleeting connection was ever real, or if she was simply another distraction in his otherwise calculated life. Meanwhile, Adrian remains blissfully unaware of the bombshell heading his way. Back in his high-rise office, he's distracted by visions of Mia, replaying their night together over and over in his mind. He knows he should stay away, that getting involved with her would only complicate things further. But the pull is too strong to resist. Just as he decides to reach out, Mia shows up at his building, pale and trembling. Their eyes meet across the lobby, and for a moment, time stands still. Then she steps forward, clutching an envelope containing the ultrasound images. "We need to talk," she says softly, her voice shaking. Adrian's heart sinks as he ushers her into his private elevator, already dreading what she's about to say. What follows is a conversation neither of them will ever forget. Mia explains everything: the pregnancy, the triplets, the fear and uncertainty clouding her future. Adrian listens in stunned silence, his mind racing. On one hand, he's overwhelmed by the magnitude of the situation. On the other, he feels a strange sense of responsibility, even protectiveness, toward Mia and the children she's carrying. But how can he possibly step up when his very presence puts her health at risk? The irony isn't lost on either of them. The man allergic to women is now going to be a father, to 3 babies no less. As they sit there, staring at each other in disbelief, the weight of their reality settles in. They're in uncharted territory, and the road ahead promises to be anything but easy. And yet, amidst the chaos, there's a glimmer of hope. Could this unexpected twist bring them closer together? Or will Adrian's condition drive them apart before they even have a chance to try? As Mia leaves his office that day, promising to give him time to process, Adrian finds himself facing the biggest challenge of his life: love, family, sacrifice. It's all on the table now. But one thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again. What happens next? You'll have to wait and find out. The days that follow are a blur of emotions for both Adrian and Mia. For Adrian, the weight of responsibility feels suffocating. He spends sleepless nights pacing his penthouse, staring out at the city lights while trying to make sense of his life spiraling out of control. How could he have been so reckless? The allergy that has dictated every aspect of his existence now seems like a cruel joke. Here he is, about to become a father, 3 times over, and yet he can barely stand within arm's reach of the mother of his children without risking her health. It's not just guilt gnawing at him, it's fear. Fear that he'll never be able to step up in the way Mia deserves. Fear that his condition will always come between them. Mia, on the other hand, wrestles with her own doubts. She didn't plan for this. Her life was already hard enough before she found herself tangled up with someone as complicated as Adrian Cole. At first, she thought their night together was just a fleeting moment of escape from reality, a chance to feel seen by someone who seemed genuinely interested in her. But now, with triplets growing inside her, reality hits harder than ever. She loves her siblings dearly, but raising them alone has left her stretched thin. Adding 3 more lives into the mix feels impossible. Still, there's something about Adrian that makes her want to believe they might figure things out together. If only he'd stop pushing her away. Adrian's internal struggle intensifies when he starts researching potential treatments or solutions for his allergy. He pores over medical journals, consults specialists, and even considers experimental therapies. Anything to bridge the gap between him and Mia. But each doctor delivers the same grim prognosis. His condition is rare, poorly understood, and unlikely to change anytime soon. Some suggest immunotherapy, though it would take years and carry no guarantee of success. Others warn against putting himself or Mia through unnecessary risks. Frustration builds inside him until one day, he slams his fist on the desk, scattering papers across the room. "There has to be a way," he mutters, under his breath, refusing to accept defeat. Meanwhile, Mia begins to notice subtle changes in Adrian's behavior. Despite his initial hesitation, he starts reaching out more often, sending texts to check on her, arranging for groceries to be delivered to her apartment, even sending her flowers once, a gesture she finds oddly sweet. It's clear he's trying, in his own awkward, guarded way. Yet every time she suggests meeting face to face, he hesitates, citing work commitments or vague excuses about needing space. It hurts, but Mia understands. As much as she wants to trust him, she can't help feeling like he's keeping her at arm's length, not because he doesn't care, but because he's scared. Their fragile connection takes another hit when rumors begin swirling around Adrian's company. Someone spotted Mia entering his office that fateful day, and word spread quickly. Whispers echo through the hallways about the mystery woman who somehow managed to get close to the untouchable CEO. A few nosy co-workers dig deeper, piecing together bits of information until speculation turns into gossip. When Mia overhears 2 employees mocking her situation during lunch break, calling her a gold digger who trapped Adrian, she feels humiliated and furious. She storms into Adrian's office later that afternoon, demanding answers. "Do you know what people are saying about me?" she asks, tears welling up in her eyes. Adrian looks stricken, torn between defending her and protecting his reputation. This confrontation forces Adrian to confront an uncomfortable truth. His wealth and status have shielded him from judgment his entire life, but now they're making things worse. Every move he makes is scrutinized, every decision dissected. If he acknowledges Mia publicly, he risks fueling the fire, but if he stays silent, he risks losing her trust completely. Caught between these extremes, he decides to act, but not without consequences. He calls an emergency press conference, addressing the rumors head-on. Standing in front of reporters, he admits to having a personal relationship with Mia, but refuses to divulge details about their private lives. "I won't apologize for caring about someone," he says firmly, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside him. The speech earns him mixed reactions. Some applaud his honesty, while others accuse him of grandstanding. Back at home, Mia watches the news coverage with conflicting emotions. Part of her appreciates Adrian standing up for her, but another part wonders if he truly understands what she's going through. Being thrust into the public eye wasn't part of the deal, and she resents feeling like collateral damage in his quest to protect their future. That night, she sends him a text. "We need to talk." His reply comes instantly. "I'll come over." When he arrives, she greets him with folded arms, her expression unreadable. They sit down in her tiny living room, surrounded by second-hand furniture and the faint smell of baby powder from her youngest sibling. The tension between them is palpable. "You don't get it, do you?" she says, finally breaking the silence. "This isn't just your problem anymore. Those kids, they're mine too. And I'm tired of feeling like I'm fighting this battle alone." Her words cut deep, forcing Adrian to see the cracks in his carefully constructed plans. He realizes he's been approaching everything from his perspective, assuming money and resources could fix anything. But Mia doesn't need saving. She needs partnership. She needs someone willing to share the load, not just throw solutions at her. For the first time, Adrian lets his guard down completely, admitting his fears and insecurities. "I don't know how to do this," he confesses, his voice trembling. "But I want to try." Their conversation lasts hours, delving into topics neither had dared to address before. They talk about parenting styles, financial responsibilities, and what kind of co-parenting dynamic might work. Given Adrian's condition, Mia shares her worries about balancing work and childcare, while Adrian opens up about his fear of failing as a father. Slowly, tentatively, they begin to build a foundation of mutual understanding. By the end of the night, they agree on one thing. They owe it to their unborn children to give this a real shot, to navigate the challenges together, however messy it may get. But just as they start finding common ground, a new obstacle emerges. During a routine checkup, Mia's doctor raises concerns about her stress levels, warning that prolonged anxiety could harm the babies. Adrian immediately insists she take time off work to focus on her health, offering to cover all expenses. While Mia appreciates the gesture, she bristles at the implication that she can't handle things herself. Their disagreement escalates into a heated argument, dredging up old insecurities and unspoken resentments. "You think throwing money at me solves everything?" she snaps, tears streaming down her face. "I'm not some charity case, Adrian." Her words sting, but they also force Adrian to reflect on his actions. He realizes he's been treating Mia like a project instead of a partner, an extension of his need for control, rather than a person with her own agency. Determined to make amends, he accompanies her to her next appointment, listening intently as the doctor explains the importance of emotional support during pregnancy. Watching Mia interact with the medical staff, seeing her strength and resilience firsthand, inspires him to approach their relationship differently. He starts small, asking for her input on decisions, instead of dictating terms. He learns to listen, instead of lecture. Bit by bit, their bond grows stronger. As the months pass, their lives become increasingly intertwined. Adrian attends birthing classes with Mia, albeit from a safe distance. and helps set up a nursery in her apartment. Mia, in turn, introduces him to her siblings, teaching him the art of patience and unconditional love. Together, they navigate the ups and downs of preparing for parenthood, leaning on each other in ways neither thought possible. Yet beneath the surface, questions linger. Will Adrian's allergy ever improve? Can they create a stable environment for their children despite the challenges? And most importantly, will their fragile partnership survive the pressures of raising triplets? The climax approaches rapidly as Mia's due date draws near. One evening, while cooking dinner, she suddenly doubles over in pain, clutching her stomach. Panic sets in as she realizes labor is starting weeks earlier than expected. Frantically, she calls Adrian, who rushes to her side despite the risk. As they race to the hospital, adrenaline courses through their veins, overshadowing any lingering doubts or fears. In that moment, nothing else matters except getting Mia and their babies to safety. What happens next will test their courage, determination, and love in ways they never imagined. The drive to the hospital feels like an eternity. Adrian grips the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white as he navigates through traffic with urgency. Beside him, Mia breathes deeply, trying to stay calm despite the waves of pain coursing through her body. "We're almost there," Adrian says, his voice steady but laced with worry. For once, his allergy doesn't cross his mind. He's too focused on getting Mia the help she needs. When they finally arrive at the emergency room, doctors and nurses spring into action, whisking Mia away while Adrian waits anxiously in the hallway. The sterile smell of antiseptic fills the air, a stark reminder of how fragile life can be. Hours pass in a haze of tension and uncertainty. Adrian paces back and forth outside the delivery room, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. He calls Mia's siblings, who rush to the hospital to support their sister. They arrive wide-eyed and frightened, clutching each other for comfort. Seeing them reminds Adrian of everything at stake. Not just 3 new lives, but Mia's entire, and family counting on her strength. Finally, after what feels like forever, a doctor emerges with news. All 3 babies have been delivered safely, though prematurely. They'll need time in the neonatal intensive care unit, NICU, but their prognosis is good. Relief washes over Adrian like a tidal wave, leaving him weak-kneed and overwhelmed. When Adrian steps into Mia's recovery room, she's pale but smiling faintly, exhausted from the ordeal. Her eyes light up when he tells her about the babies. "They're fighters," she whispers, tears streaming down her face. Adrian takes her hand gently, careful not to trigger his allergy. In that moment, something shifts between them. A deeper connection forms, born out of shared fear and triumph. For the first time, Adrian lets himself fully embrace the idea of being a father, flaws and all. He vows silently to do whatever it takes to protect this family, no matter how unconventional it may seem. Over the next few weeks, Adrian becomes a regular fixture at the NICU, donning protective gear to minimize risks. At first, he observes from afar, watching Mia cradle one of the tiny infants against her chest during skin-to-skin contact. But as days turn into weeks, he grows bolder, learning how to hold the babies carefully under supervision. Each touch, each cooing sound they make, chips away at his fears. Slowly, he begins to see past his limitations, realizing that love isn't defined by physical proximity. It's about presence, effort, and sacrifice. Mia notices the change in him too. She sees the way he studies parenting books late into the night, scribbling notes in the margins. She watches him bond with her siblings, teaching them how to prepare bottles and change diapers. It's clear Adrian is putting in the work, not because he has to, but because he wants to. One evening, as they sit together in the dimly lit NICU, Mia turns to him and says softly, "You're going to be an amazing dad." Her words catch him off guard, filling him with both pride and humility. "Only if I have you by my side," he replies honestly, meeting her gaze. For the first time, neither pulls away from the truth, hanging unspoken between them. They've become more than co-parents. They've become partners. As the babies grow stronger and are finally cleared to go home, Adrian makes another bold move. He invites Mia and her siblings to move into his spacious house, offering stability and support during such a critical time. At first, Mia hesitates, wary of becoming dependent on him. But when he explains that it's not charity, it's a chance for them to build something real together, she agrees. Moving day marks a fresh start for everyone. The house transforms into a lively hub of laughter, late-night feedings, and diaper changes. Adrian learns patience. Mia finds strength, and the children thrive surrounded by love. Months later, Adrian undergoes a breakthrough treatment recommended by a specialist. While not a cure, it significantly reduces his allergic reactions, allowing him to spend more time physically present with Mia and the kids. On the day he holds all 3 babies without gloves or masks for the first time, tears stream down his face. Mia captures the moment on camera, knowing it's one they'll treasure forever. Their journey hasn't been easy, but it's taught them resilience, teamwork, and the power of unconditional love. The story concludes with a quiet scene. In the backyard, Adrian pushes one of the triplets in a swing, while Mia watches from the porch, holding the other 2. The sun sets behind them, casting golden hues across the yard. "Do you think we'll ever stop worrying?" she asks. Half joking, Adrian chuckles, shaking his head. "Probably not, but maybe that's okay. Worry means we care." His response brings a smile to her face. And for the first time in a long while, she feels truly at peace. In the end, their tale isn't just about overcoming obstacles. It's about finding joy in imperfection. Adrian's allergy didn't define him. Instead, it forced him to confront his vulnerabilities and grow. Mia's strength inspired those around her, proving that even in the toughest times, hope can flourish. Together, they built a family unlike any other, rooted in trust, acceptance, and love. And as the camera pans out, capturing the happy chaos of their blended household, viewers are left with a simple yet powerful message. Sometimes, the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful endings.